Hello, and welcome to a new series, this time focused on the moon. Please subscribe to the channel, share this video and any within the series with your friends and loved ones. Comment beneath, like the video, and turn on the notification bell so you can hear when I release new things. Please send me an email if you would like to have a personal reading of your birth chart. This is my great passion and I love doing it, so thank you so much for tuning in. It brings me so much joy to share this amazing art science with you during this new Aquarian age that we're in. The moon is at home in Cancer and at home in the 4th house, so these are themes of family, mother, home, the heart, emotions. So I hope you enjoy this exploration. Hello, moon in Sagittarius. This also applies to you if you have the moon in the 9th house or if you have the moon conjunct Jupiter. You're very welcome here. Of course you are. You're always welcome to the party. Everybody loves having you around. You've got great energy. You're lots of fun. You love excess. You love to play, to party, to joke. The big joker. And it's medicine. It's a really powerful medicine for this world that can be too serious. However, there is an addiction to comedy and an addiction to nervous laughter. We know that laughter is a great way to release emotion, but it is also a great way to distract ourselves. And there is something known as the cosmic giggle. The cosmic giggle is a big, deep belly laugh that occurs when we realize the hilarity of the universe and the humor inherent in everything. And it requires no negating of others. It requires no substances, no alcohol. It requires not negating our spiritual path and staying true to that, and then finding that place to laugh beyond the superficial, which can be distracting and can be tantalizing and can be so fun. But there are other layers of fun to be had. So there is a trap for this wonderful moon. It's a great moon placement to have. It makes you bubbly and fun and young, and it's great. The trap is an avoidance tactic to stop deeper spiritual work and deeper emotional processing. And you can, as many people are addicted to misery, and whether they admit to it or not, there is an addiction to depression and even the process of crying, and the same can be said for laughter. It just depends which way you're directed as to which will be your tipple of choice. So, as with all of these videos, they're here to trigger responses, and the great things must and should be celebrated. But as always, the things that are darker are the things we generally don't want to look at. So it's very important that we see the shadow side of this moon placement first and foremost, because the lighter, more positive and airy side of this moon is self-evident. It's playful, it's optimistic, and it is expansive and infectious. There's an infectious laughter with this, and it's wonderful to come in and transmute any kind of negativity and tension. So this cosmic giggle I'm talking about is something you can have with the universe itself. And this is where I'm saying just wait, because sometimes it can be easy to get the cheap laughs and you get a good buzz off of that, a good feeling. But there is another audience, which is the universe itself, which when you start laughing alongside this definitely not inanimate object, which is the earth, then you start to laugh from a really true place, because none of the laughter is tinged with putting someone else down or putting yourself down or any kind of comparative style of thing. It's something to do with observation. Sagittarius can see things very clearly. It's to do with being able to observe and see things, draw attention to them, and then make that statement, and then draw attention to that fact that you've observed. And it can be shocking, but it is the thing that can then transform into laughter, something that otherwise may seem quite hard and heavy. There's an ability for Sagittarius moon to help dissolve trauma, because again, as sadness is addictive, so is identifying with trauma and the story, and Sagittarius is the ultimate storyteller, so it can be a perfect way of reframing the past and helping someone through by seeing the lighter side to be able to transcend it. Now this has to be done with so much subtlety and delicacy, because it can easily turn into an avoidance tactic or offering someone up an escape route, and it's not that. It's about being able to zoom out. Whenever I think of Sagittarius, it's about large scale travel long distances. You're looking at a map, so it's not very personal. You're not going to feel personal little pains, so it's encouraging people to just zoom out and be this eagle that's observing the things that's happening instead of identifying with them. Now this is very different from disassociating. This is, I am one with all of this, and therefore definitely there is emotional pain to be felt, but that doesn't have to be sad. Feeling pain doesn't have to be tragic and miserable. It can be something that is felt full force, which is what Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so you have that Jupiterian essence of expansion. So emotions feel big for this moon. They feel big and in your face and really strong, and it can be really powerful to be able to observe them. This is also empathic. This is an empathic moon. We forget that about fire, but it's mutable fire, so it's very capable to feel its surroundings, which is why it's a great comedian, because it's interacting and bouncing off of the energy that it's feeling around it, but it's still this big ball of fire. So with the moon in this place, we still have the tides and the swaying that comes with the moon, but this time with fire, and this time with potency. And like with the Aries and Leo moons, this can be explosive, and this can really explode in your face. So learning about delicacy and subtlety and tuning into the other subtler parts of your chart, as with most people, never let your moon be the guide, because the moon is always changing and shifting. It's something that's informing you. It's giving you the information and the wisdom, but then you have your baseline beneath that, which is much more consistent. And the problem with a comedian is, and anyone on stage, is there's an addiction to the feedback that you get from that, and there needs to be the ability to have the cosmic giggle with the universe, where you just laugh alongside God. You just laugh alongside just the fact that we're here is ridiculous. It's hilarious. And the way that we've been formed, the way that we have relationships, the way the nuclear family was formed, the way that we have our concepts, and the way that we're transcending them, it's joyful and it's jolly. And humour doesn't have to be tinged with malice, as it so often is. It's so often about abusing another person, and it doesn't have to be that. It can be about observing something from a wider perspective, and also just laughing at the behaviour, and really making sure that everybody knows we're laughing at the behaviour, we're not laughing at the person. The person is not inherently wrong. What they've done is really, really funny and stupid. And especially if it's something quite negative that they've done to someone else, it needs to be addressed and brought forward and shown for what it is. Like, well, that wasn't a very clever thing to do, was it? You know, but it's something that they did. It's not about the person. So there's a finesse to this moon that seems kind of sloppy at first. When you see Sagittarius moon, it seems kind of, it will be all over the place, but it doesn't have to be. It can be the master of finesse and bringing something into, bringing in a delicacy, bringing in a real softness. The greatest warrior is not the person who's killed the most people. It's the one who has the ability to do that and then chooses not to. So there's often as well the tactlessness associated with Sagittarius and having a big mouth, running their mouth. Well, being able to slow down and not react with the emotion that stirs up in you and comes to the surface, and being able to hold back what needs to be held back and then get the punchline right so that it hits right in the person, not just to distract them, but to actually offer a doorway. Because Sagittarius is a philosopher. It sees above and beyond and into the future, and it kind of sees beyond the petty things and the smallness. And the moon is very small. It's the closest, smallest, most intimate thing within us. But you have to see that your emotions are not this. The way that they are moving and changing all the time, how could you possibly identify with them and say, I'm just depressed, I'm just this, I'm just a comedian? It's like every day you're shifting, you're moving, and you are evolving through feeling. But all the time knowing you are not the emotions that are shifting and changing, you're something consistent. When you have this fire, there can be a shaming of that for having fire, firstly. So sometimes it can be really rewarding when you have something to say, you hold it just in your heart and just feel it, and then you might just giggle, and then the people might feel it and receive it far more than if you actually said the thing that you were going to say, just to feel the emotion in your chest and just laugh with it and let it sit with you instead of having to convince other people. Because of the fire signs' need for other people to have a reaction, have some kind of back and forth with them, it becomes codependent and needy. And it doesn't need to be that way. It can be like, I'm satisfied with myself. Like that kind of, wow. You guys, you don't know. You don't know. Like, it's so funny that we've got this amazing future ahead of us and we're all lost in these petty little stories of the day. And you can just see the general upswing of things, and the fact that we are very much in control of how fast we optimize based on our optimism, based on how positively we can genuinely feel about the future and act about the future. Not just an idealized version of what will happen, but an actual, oh, I'm pretty damn sure this is where we're going to go, because day to day to day I'm making the steps to put the world right. And it's funny because the Sagittarius, the judgment against Sagittarius is the ego and the big-headedness, but we're only going to do this if every one of our big heads gets in line and does what it needs to do to help align with nature, which is ready to laugh with us if we just let it. At the moment it's reflecting a lot back to us about ourselves. And you can observe that all around in how unwelcoming certain parts of nature are and how welcoming others are, depending on how much they've been interfered with by humans. So it's a sign for emotional investigation, exploration, and delving into something like astrology and delving into your own emotional state, and not just saying everything's great all the time, because it's not. It's really not. You can't just say the future will be perfect and I'm doing everything right if it's not true. And that's self-deception, and that goes for every single sign. Like we can't lie to ourselves and then expect the outcome to be beautiful. And the problem with the ultimate optimist, or not the ultimate optimist, the automatic optimist, is to say everything is great when it's not, to just try and polish the turd, even though it's still a turd, still a piece of shit, and not actually do the work to evolve. And that's the sad thing, because Sagittarius has so much fire and so much power to be able to charge forward in an amazing way that's really inspirational for others. But if it tends to fall back and rest on its laurels and do too much sort of people pleasing, like, why would you want to please the people? Like, don't you want to be the champion of the people and be the leader and be the initiator, not the person who makes people feel comfortable about their addictions or makes people feel justified for their unloving behavior? It's much better to draw attention to the unloving behavior in a loving way that people can actually receive it. So yeah, there's lots of food for thought there. It's a very beautiful placement to have, and it's great to have you here. So thank you.